Perfect. Okay, guys. So today we're going to talk about client follow-up. So what do you do after you have closed on a transaction, right? One of the biggest things is a lot of people drop the ball. So less than 45% of clients use their real estate agent more than once due to lack of follow-up on the agent's part. So what is proper follow-up? Well, there's no right or wrong. Everybody does different things. So it really truly just depends on what works for you as an agent. I'm going to go through the things that I do, and I'm going to walk you through how I do them, how I work them, and then you guys can feel free to tweak things, utilize whatever systems you want to utilize, and go from there with it. That's for you then, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get Ingrid in here real quick. So I'm going to do a share screen with you guys. If I can get the right one. Hang tight. I got to get the right one open. And then. Okay, so I have a checklist that I go off of. I'm going to be emailing this out to you guys, those that are not here in person. I'll email this out after the training is done along with the recording. So you can feel free to add this into your templates if you want to upload it into Dotloop or Zip Forms, whichever file system you use, just to kind of have it. That's great. I use this actually in a task list form. So when I work out of Dotloop or I work out of my CRM, these populate as tasks for me that will come into, my to-dos, my daily to-dos based upon the closing date and whenever I am going to settlement. So let's just start and walk our way, obviously, through a transaction. So it's your day of closing. You go to settlement. It's all said and done. You take your file back to the office and you get paid. Yay! What do you do from there? Okay, so the first thing on my checklist is to upload all of my closing docs to SkySlope. Why do we have to do that? Well, because the brokerage needs it, and it's a great place for you to be able to go back to and reference whenever things are all said and done. Why is that important to reference them? Because you always want to be that go-to point for your client, even way after closing. Okay, so what is one of the things that your clients commonly need after settlement has occurred? They need their settlement sheets, right? So why do they need them? Well, they need them for tax purposes. I'm going to show you something on my list here that I do for my clients for tax time, but it's also great for you to do something, where you send it out to your clients or whatnot, but you want to be that source. So if your clients need it, you need to know where to access it. So we upload all of our closing docs to the SkySlope file. After that is all said and done and everything's been closed out, I then have an email template that I send out, or my admin, Nathan, who a lot of you know and utilize, sends out a congratulations email. So it's a very well detailed congratulations email, thanking them for utilizing me as their real estate professional, thanking them for utilizing the brokerage, wishing them the best of luck, and then also containing links where they can go very easily, click the link to leave a review for me. So in my congratulations email, I have a link to my Zillow website where they can leave a review for me. I have a link to my Google website where they can leave a review. And once upon a time when I had it, I also had a link to my my business profile page on Facebook. So that way they could write a recommendation or leave a review. I try to make it nice and easy for them. Right there, all they got to do is click, 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 and it's done. Instead of trying to say, hey, will you go to Zillow and write a review for me? Most people have no idea. I mean, everybody knows Zillow, but they don't know where to go, what to do, or how to do it. So I just point them in that right direction. And I always say, leave me a 5-star review. I don't ever say, leave me a review. I always ask them for a 5-star review. I try to guide them, put it in their head that that's what they want to do for me. Okay. So again, they're listening to you as their professional. They're going to subliminally hear that and do things. I will sometimes, if I'm depending on the client, I may also pull up my review page on my phone or on their phone while we're sitting at settlement and ask them to go ahead and write a review right then and there while we are waiting for them to finalize documents, especially if it's a seller who is sitting around waiting for a buyer to finish a buyer loan package or whatever. They've got some time. Why not get them to do that while they're sitting there? This way I know it's done. Hustle and bustle of the move, everything gets put by the wayside. So I'd rather them do it, get it done and taken care of. Okay. So that's the second, that's the very first thing I do essentially after the file has been closed out with the brokerage. I send out that congratulations email with the review links and thank them for utilizing me. Okay. Then I jump into my database. I am not here to tell you what database to use. Okay. My partner would kick me under the table if she knew I was saying this to you. But as long as you are using a database to keep your people in some sort of order, staying in touch with them, staying on top of them, that is completely and totally fine. I know a lot of people that will they use their phone as their database. They have their clients in their phones. They've got all kinds of notes. They keep track of their birthdays, their anniversary dates, everything right in there. As long as you have something to be able to reference back to, that's perfect, okay? I then go into my database and I update my client's information. So I'm going to change them from either under contract to closed, from a buyer to now a potential seller, because down the road, they'll probably be selling the house. I'm going to mark them as to what form of category I feel they fall into. What do I mean by that? Are your clients an A client where you know they are going to give you referrals? They're going to talk to you. They're going to talk about you to all of their friends, their family. It was a great transaction. So they're going to be on top of your mind. If so, they should be an A. What does that mean? You want to stay in touch with them more regularly. You want to give them, not special treatment, but like if you're doing Popeyes, if it's Christmas time, you want to drop off a little Christmas gift. I deliver pies at Thanksgiving. So my A clients all get pies as a thank you gift. If they're a B client, they're people who may refer you, but aren't always going to think about it. When they're having a conversation about real estate, they sit and they think, they know you're there, they're going to use you again, but you're not necessarily top of mind when they're just talking to some random stranger. Does that make sense? So they're B's. The hope is that you can get them to move to the A category because they think about you all the time. And then you might have A's that fall back into the B category. Your C's and D's, I'm just going to skip right to D's. They're the people that you're probably never going to talk to again, right? They are the people that you may not necessarily want to stay in touch with. Okay. If that's the case, that's all the further you're really going to go with them. Whether it was a bad experience, they, moved far away, whatever it may be, you're really not going to do a whole lot of additional follow-up with them after the fact. Your C's are kind of borderline there for you. So they may or may not give you referrals, but they're very, very, very less likely to send you business or do repeat business with you. Okay. So you want to stay in touch with them, but only on a very loose and casual basis, such as like a birthday card or a home anniversary card, nothing where you're really truly going out of your way for that. Okay. So I update my client in my database, right? I change their category. I change what they are. I'm going to update their home address. They just bought a house. I want to make certain I put their new home address in there. Okay. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to put in their anniversary date in their profile. So KV Core, which is the database system that most of you use because you all have access to, KV Core has an option where you can list their home purchase anniversary date. Once you plug that in there, it will automatically set up an auto task reminder for you based upon their anniversary date to remind you prior to their home purchase anniversary every year so that you can send them out a home anniversary card, give them a call, whatever it may be, okay? I use a different system. I shouldn't tell you that, but I use a different system that not only has a task list, but it automatically puts it into my Google Calendar for me. So I'm going to see in my Google Calendar, which I'm on my phone all the time, I'm going to see when it's seller or buyer XYZ's home anniversary date. The next step for that is you also want to add their birthdays, right? So again, you want to have their birthdays and their home anniversary dates because those are two really important dates that you can very easily stay in front of and keep in touch with these clients. So how do you get their birthdays? Hi, Kyle. Welcome to the party. Sorry, Kyle just walked in and disrupted everything. So I have a lot of people say to me, how do I get my clients' birthdays? Well, one of the easiest ways to do it is when you're sitting at the settlement table. So every title agent needs to make a copy of your client's driver's license for notary purposes. I am the agent that will go and make the copy on behalf of the title agent. So I will collect my client's driver's licenses. I will go to the printer and I will make the copy for them. I make 2 copies. I keep one for myself for my file so that I have access to their birthdays, and then I provide the title agent with one. When I'm done with closing, I put their birthdays into my database and I know I can stay in touch with them, okay? This then in turn triggers me to send a text message, an email, and send a handwritten birthday card. So everybody likes those personal cards, so we try to stay on top of them, okay? So again, I'm adding in the anniversary dates, I'm adding in the birthdays, okay? After those are put in, I am now essentially done in their profile, which is great. I can close them out, I can move on. I then will make a copy of my settlement sheet, whether it's a HUD-1, a CD, whatever it may be. I'll make a copy of their settlement sheet. And I also have a letter template that I print out. I go into my template, I change the first name, dear so-and-so, whomever. And then the letter states that it's tax time. It's that time of year again where you need to collect your documents to take to your tax preparation specialist. In addition to your receipts, your write-offs, blah, 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 you need to provide your tax specialist with a copy of your settlement sheet since you bought or sold a home this past year. Enclosed, you'll find a copy so that you don't have to worry about trying to find that. Wish you all the best, yada, yada. I prepare that letter right after closing. So I make the copy, I print off the letter, I create the envelope, I stamp the envelope, and I set it aside. Everything gets mailed out on January 2nd when the mail goes again. So I have a stack of letters sitting on my desk at home with everybody's end of year letter that contains a copy of their settlement sheet. So that way they're going to all get a touch from me whenever it comes in the mail with a copy of their settlement sheet. Hey, I was thinking about you. Hey, I'm your realtor. I want you to be top of mind whenever you guys are thinking about real estate. Here, let me make certain I show you that you are top of my mind, okay? Once that is done, then I go in and I make the sappy Facebook post, right? So you can make whatever kind of social media post you want. Some people don't make any social media posts. Some people just congratulate their clients and go on their merry way. Personally, I love to make the Facebook posts that have the story. Every set of clients have a story with it. I like to tell my client's story. It pulls on the heartstrings of people that are looking on social media, and it allows people to read that and say, wow, she's the kind of agent that connects with her clients. She's the type of person that I want to work with. So I go in and I do the sappy post, whether it's mentioning how long we've been friends or what hurdles they've had to overcome to be able to buy or sell a house. But I always tag my clients as long as I'm friends with them. I tag my clients and I make it so that they can share it. So that way they can tell the world about, they can rave about me. They can tell the world about the new home that they just bought. I always try to do personal photos as well. I have a tendency, I take them in front of the house, right when we're doing walkthrough. I like people to want to celebrate and then they get to share that. So I have a tendency to take an abundance of photos in all kinds of goofy poses, where they're laughing and they're carry on. And then I text it to my clients as well afterwards. So I send them all the photos that I take so that way they can share it and they can do with it whatever they would like to do. Okay. So again, I personally feel the social media post is great. It gives your clients a shout out, but make certain you double check with them whenever you're at closing, just to ensure that they didn't, they don't want to keep it private, that sort of thing. So I always ask, don't just assume. Okay. Anybody have questions so far? Not on nothing? Am I talking too fast? You guys getting it all good? Everybody's good? Everybody's good? Good, good.
Yeah.
So
I will reserve questions to the end.
you're gonna hold until the end. Oh, okay, I'll take questions at the end then. All right. The next thing that I have on my checklist then is to make certain that I go in and I turn off any auto searches that are set up, whether it's in my database or my MLS. Why do I have this on my checklist? Because one too many times have I forgotten to turn off those auto emails. And after they've closed, my clients will contact me and say, are you trying to tell us that there's a better home on the market? Nope, I'm just stupid and completely forgot to turn it off. So I put this as a part of my checklist so that way I can remind myself to go in and turn off those auto emails for them. So there is okay. Thank you, Ingrid, for saying everything is good. I appreciate you. So after I've done that, I will then afterwards go into one of the third-party sites. And I think I've talked to most of you that are on here with me today about all of the different sites where you guys can go in and you can create mailers, postcards, and different things. I personally like to use the website tpmco.com, which is the personal marketing company. I use them for pretty much all of my mailers. Why am I telling you this now? Because my next step is to complete my 5, 5, and 10s to the neighborhood along with a CMA teaser. What does that mean? So 5, 5, and 10s are where you market to the surrounding homes that you just the houses that surround the homes that you just sold. So I will go in, whether I represented a buyer or I represented a seller, I will pull the addresses for 5 homes to the left, 5 homes to the right, and 10 houses across the street. All right, so I'm going to pull those addresses, I'm going to pull those owners, and now I'm going to create a mailer through TPMCO to show what I sold the home for, to say, hey, I just sold your neighbor's home. If it was a buyer, hey, please feel, welcome the new family to the neighborhood. I'm happy to help you with any of the transition. And I include a quick little CMA teaser that says, what is your home worth? I know what this home sold for. How much is your home worth? Trying to get people to come into me to pick up the phone. It's basically a call to action saying, what can I do for you? Okay. So I go ahead, I get that mailer done, because if I don't do it right away, the reality is I'm going to get super busy and I'm never going to do it. Okay. So I always do a mailer to the neighborhood in the 5, 5s, and 10s. All right. From there, then I go in and I set up a reminder in my database or the calendar, depending on, again, what you use, to check in with my client if they are a buyer, not my seller. If they are a buyer, I check in with them after 2 weeks of purchase. Why 2 weeks? 2 weeks gives them enough time to have made the move, be transitioned comfortably enough that they're not living out of boxes completely still. And now they've been in the home long enough that there might be little things that have come up. whether they can't figure out a light switch or they don't know how to operate the jacuzzi tub, whatever it may be. It gives them enough time to have made a little list of quirks that they can then relay back to me. And then I can contact the listing agent and say, hey, can I pick your brain real quick on these couple items? Again, I'm not going to the listing agent with problems. It's just those little quirks. Can you ask your seller where the main shutoff switch is for the jacuzzi tub that keeps running constantly? Things like that. Like literally last night, I got a message from one of my clients who just closed a couple days ago. She said, can you ask the listing agent to ask the seller where the light switch for the foyer overhead light is? We can't find it. And I said to her, and I said, do you have any light switches in the surrounding area that when you turn them on, don't turn anything on? And she said, well, we do. And I said, great, your light bulb's blown. Change the light bulb. So sure enough, they did that. And that was taken care of. But again, so that's when I do my 2-week check-in. I try to just get those little things, make certain they're good. From there, then I will check back with them in 6 months. Half a year, now they're fully transitioned, they're comfortable, all of that stuff. I just do a real quick touch base. How you doing? How's the home? Still loving the neighborhood? You know, do you have any questions? Do you need anything? Yeah, I know you get a whole bunch of spam mail. Sorry about that. You can throw that stuff away. Little things, buyers or sellers. I want to touch base with both of them just to check in and see how they're doing. Okay. My next touch, which is again, already going to be in my database, which is already also in my calendar, is their 1-year anniversary. All right. When their 1-year anniversary comes around, I call everyone personally. I will call them, check in on them. How are they doing? If they don't pick up the phone, I'll shoot them a text just to let them know I was thinking about them. But then I go one step further. I send everybody a personalized home anniversary card on their 1-year anniversary only. So remember that photo I told you that I take at walkthrough with them standing in front of the home with the sold sign, whatever it may be. I upload that to Snapfish. That's the system that I use. And I create an anniversary card for them with their photo on it. And that's what I send to them. So it's just a little reminder of, hey, this was a year ago today. This is what you get. And that's what I send out to them with a nice little note. So again, I only do it for 1 year. I don't want to do that all the time, but it's nice. I've had lots of clients come back and say to me, hey, we really like this. We lost the photo. We didn't have it anymore. Thank you for this, yada, yada. So again, real simple touches for that first year, real simple things just to stay in touch. After that, I continue to send them a birthday card. I will continue to send them an anniversary card up until 5 years. I don't send anniversary cards after 5 years. I will still connect with them. So I will still, like, if they pop up in my Facebook memories, I will still share it. I will still, send them a quick message to say, hey, happy home anniversary, things like that. But I don't send cards after 5 years. And then I also make certain everybody is on my holiday card mailer. So at Christmas time, I send everybody a happy holidays card and make certain that they know that I'm thinking of them. Okay. So those are the recurring events that I do leading up to a year and then from the year thereafter. In addition to these, I also do pop-bys. So like I was saying just a little bit ago, I have larger pop-bys that I give out to my A clients, only to my A clients. Most of my clients that are on the A list, they stay there. They don't necessarily fall back into the B category. But they are the ones that I will go and I will give my pies to at Thanksgiving time. I will, at 4th of July, I always do I call it a goodie basket with sparklers, glow sticks, fun things for the kids. I give that to all of my A clients. So those are the bigger gifts. And then I might do little pop-bys throughout the year. Hey, I was in the neighborhood and I was thinking of you, here's a little something, whatever it may be, to my people in my database. So, but that's a constant follow-up. I will tell you, I have over the course of my career, now have I always operated off of this stuff? I haven't. But since I have put follow-up action into place and I have stuck to it, I have never had a client that I have closed go and close with somebody else. Okay, so meaning if they buy a home with me, I stay in touch with them just enough that when they're ready to sell, they're still contacting me. Now that doesn't mean I'm best friends with everybody. I'm not friends with everybody on Facebook. I'm not calling them all the time, but I stay prevalent in front of them long enough that they constantly remember me. So again, since I put the action into place, I personally have not lost a client, but that doesn't mean everybody would. So yeah, so that is what I do for staying in touch with people. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys at home want to unmute yourself, who utilizes a follow-up plan? Do you do differently? And what questions do you have? So
Hey.
table's open.
Hey, Terry,
Yeah, Kurt.
you mentioned TPMCO,
Yep.
and the one thing that I know I've used and got good response back from is that Pro Power program. I don't know whether you use it or not. Where
I've
they
never used it, but I know of it. Yeah.
yeah, they send out it costs $25 for 5 years.
Yep.
And they send out 21 mailings over that 5-year period every quarter. And I've gotten good response because they send out every year 2 magazines and 2 postcards.
Yep.
So I found that to help out as far as in case I forget, which
Yeah.
at my age I forget everything. So
it is a great program for you to have 4 touches to your clients, 4 touches a year for 5 years for $25. It's you can't beat it. You really can't beat it. So yeah. Great job, Kurt. Does anybody else use that program?
crickets.
Crickets. Okay.
No, but I've wanted to and I will.
Awesome. Good.
But I
Good,
do
good,
stay
good.
in touch with my clients constantly. We either by text or phone,
Perfect.
and I'm a presence, so I do that personalized anyway.
Good. What so Drew, what sort of follow-up do you do? Like how do you remind yourself to stay in touch? Do you put it in your database? Is it something that you put in your calendar? How do you stay on top of it?
Well, I have not been good with databases, and I will admit wholeheartedly. And I'm trying to start that anew. I find it hard sometimes, and I just have a list, and I know really in my head, but I also have a list as well of all my clients.
Okay.
So I review it once in a while, and it's, oh, I haven't talked to this one in a while. Let me catch up. Or hey, I think it's been a year or two. And I just touch base, send them Thanksgiving messages, Christmas messages, and just hey, how are you guys doing? How's the family? Whatnot. Just more on a personal level.
Yeah. Do you, so if you're not good with databases, because I know at least 1 or 2 others who are here are not good at databases. I highly recommend, if you can't quite wrap your head around using a database, at least ensure that A, you have your clients in your phone, but then B, utilize your calendar. So your calendar does the exact same thing for you. If you have a Gmail account, for instance, you can go in and you can create secondary calendars under your main calendar. Like I have one that is strictly client birthdays and anniversaries. That way I don't see it in my main calendar unless it's turned on. Because let's face it, I have way too many calendars right now between the offices and my partners and everybody else. But all of my clients' birthdays and anniversaries go in there. That way, if I'm not, because I don't look at my database the way I should. I don't log into it all the time. I just don't. But I'm on my calendar and I'm on my phone every day. So I can see whose birthday's coming up. Okay, this week, it's Jamie's birthday on Friday. I need to get that card in the mail today. So little things like that. So again, if you're not a database user, I would at least highly recommend utilizing a calendar to put certain dates in, just so, again, it's a talking point. Even if you're not just reaching out just to say hi, it's a great option to do so.
And that TPMCO or whatever it's called is, I've heard about it over the years. I just never did it. And I'm like, you know what? For 25 bucks, like the other our colleague said,
Yeah.
it's well worth it. 25
Yeah.
bucks, you cannot beat that for 5 years, let alone 1 year.
Yeah, and
They do the
TPMCO
work for you.
in general. Yeah, TPMCO in general is a great website. There's so many different things that you can do on it. I know a lot of you have heard me talk about it before. I use it for everything mailer wise. So I would, if you have not already gone in and created an account for yourself, go in and create one and just play around. Just play around. What you do with it, that's up to you. But at least go in and see what it has to offer.
Yeah, and in general, they're fairly inexpensive.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about the name of the program, so I threw the link up in the chat, and if anybody wants it.
Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate that. What else? Jen, I'd be really interested. I mean, you've been doing this for a few years. What do you do for client follow-up? How do you stay in touch with your people?
So I am a little bit, I'm all over the place with that. I don't have a specific, I don't put it in a calendar. I am not good with my database, like all the things. I do have a magazine. I'm looking for it now, see what it's called. Hold on a second. It is, oh my gosh, where is it? Okay. It's called Good to Be Home. And it goes out basically every other month. And it goes out to, I have my A list.
Mhm.
It's like a really thick magazine, and then it has me on the front and the back and all kinds of stuff like that. And then I have, obviously at Christmas time, I send out my Christmas cards, about 200 on that list.
Okay.
I'm really big on social media, so that's where I keep in touch with as many people as I can. When we're done a transaction, I will friend them on whatever type of social media that they're on. If not, every now and then I just reach out text messages, and it's random. Like, I don't keep track of it. I don't it's terrible. I'm completely unorganized in that way. But Kurt, that $25 thing, I feel like that's amazing, and I'm going to be using that because my magazines are pretty expensive, and you said it has 2 magazines a year, and then the mailers and everything. I feel like I could really save a lot of money on that and make it easier on myself.
Yeah, and to do it for 5 years. I mean,
Right.
if you do it right after closing, right after they're done, and you just get it all set up, then you don't have to think about it. Now, I
Yes.
will say, I know I keep emphasizing about birthdays and anniversaries. If you can find a way, whatever works for you, again, depending on how you do or don't utilize a database, I really, really, really think it's super important for you to at least, if you're not going to do anniversaries, at least do birthdays, because that's that special touch. That's something that is specific to that client. It's not a magazine that you're sending out to everybody that they're getting. It's not a postcard that the whole neighborhood's getting. It's something that is just specific to them. So that makes them feel special. Oh my gosh, my agent was thinking about me. This is so nice. I mean, it's just that one extra little thing to do. And I know some agents that they will go the whole year. So a lot, like Christy, for instance, Christy will get her birthday cards done right after closing. She creates it, she'll stamp it, she addresses it, and then she puts a Post-it note on it. Mail out on this day. So that way it goes in the mail right before the birthday and it gets to the client. So it's just that one extra little thing to make your client feel like they're important and that they are top of your mind.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic idea to do it right away too and have it already done.
Yeah. But then you have to remember to mail them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, does anybody else have any other, I mean, Kyle, do you do anything? I already know the answer, never mind.
I do things.
What do you do to stay in touch with your clients?
I'm super random. I'm not duplicatable at all. I tend to, from time to time, go through my phone contacts and go through dot loop or whatever, and if I see a name that I haven't talked to in a while, I will shoot them a text or email or whatever we tend to communicate through.
So it sounds like you do kind of what Drew does, like just random, hey, I haven't talked to you in a little while, and go from there with it. So, okay,
My question.
go for it, Joe.
All right, so I understand the importance of following up
Mm-hmm,
with clients. I think that is with the hope or in the hope
mm-hmm,
that they will refer you to someone,
absolutely.
they will repeat business with you. But I am wondering if you personally have tracked, let's say in a year or in a span of 5 years,
Mhm.
you have tracked, going by all the efforts you make to keep in touch,
Mhm.
right? How many of your clients within that year, so that you can say maybe 5%
Mhm.
have taken action to get me
More
a kind of-
business? Yeah. Yeah, so I will say, I don't know the numbers, and obviously, every number is going to be different because it's going to depend on the client and whatnot. I will tell you that I only work, like my business is only referrals, referrals and repeat business.
Okay.
So I get my best clients from referrals that come from people that have already worked with me
Yeah.
because they know me, they like me, and they know how I operate. So those are, they know who I am. So they want to work with me instead of just working with some stranger, right? So, and I made them feel like they're not just a transaction.
Mhm.
I didn't forget about them after I collected a paycheck.
Mhm.
So again, that's what I have built my business on. Not everybody works like that. But I personally feel that as long as you are staying in touch on some regular basis, they're constantly seeing you, they're constantly thinking about you. So whether they refer you and you get the referral, or they refer you and it doesn't go anywhere, at least you know they're talking about you or
Yeah.
thinking of you. So the game plan is as a real estate agent, the real estate profession has a tendency to not be thought of after the transaction has occurred, right? So my thing is when you have a toothache, who do you call, right? You don't just pick up the phone book and find a random dentist. You call and contact the person that you know and trust,
Yeah.
right? When you are sick and you need to go to the doctor, you contact your doctor, the person that you know and you trust. That's who you're going to work with, right? As realtors, we want to be that person. When we have a client who needs to buy or sell a home, or has friends or family that need to buy or sell a home, this is who I know and trust. This is who I'm going to work with. So, and the only way to do that is to be on top of our game and to be the best in the business, to stay in touch and to ensure that they don't forget about us.
Yeah.
So putting something into effect. So yeah. So it's just,
5%.
again, it's just establishing what works for you, because like I said, there's people who don't work out of databases. They can't, they just can't. They can't put their database together, whatever it may be, or they can take the time to put it together,
Yeah.
but then they don't stay on top of it for whatever reason. And there's no right or wrong. I can sit here and I can tell you all day long, you've got to have all your people in KV Core. You've got to stay on top of it. You've got to work it. Me telling you that doesn't do it for you, because we're all built differently. We're all going to work out of different systems. Kyle works out of his phone and it works for him. He's got a great client database, people that know him, that trust him, that like him, and it works. Same with Drew. Drew works and operates and he's successful. He does quite well. I use a totally different system, not KV Core. But the system that I use is it's very cut and dry. It doesn't have all the bells and the whistles that KV Core does. But I don't need that when it comes to my database. I want, this is who they are. This is what I need to do. It's black and white and it's done. Now I also pay a significant penny for that database that I've had for years. But again, it's what works for me. So it's just, I know people who have their clients in Excel spreadsheets and that's what they use. And they add to it every time they close a new transaction. So it's just what you'll find your beat and that's what's going to work for you.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, so you're welcome. So, okay. Anybody else? Tracy, Ingrid, anybody? John?
I'm here, but I am about to settle on my very, very first sale. So I don't have a follow-up yet, but I'm about to.
Yay! So find what works for you. Okay. So
Yes.
take this checklist that I'm going to send out to you guys here today. Utilize it however you want to, whether you print it off and you just have a bunch sitting on your desk, so that you can use every time you have a transaction, upload it to your loop templates, put it in your zip forms, whatever works for you, but at least use it as a starting point. So that way you can then build your follow-up action plan off of that. Okay.
So, do you ever, like, my buyer's agent is super nice and
Mhm.
very easy to work with, on the ball, everything. My son is in a contract right now with another agent and they're not so nice and he's constantly having to follow up with them. So, like, do you ever send something to the other agent to be like, hey, thanks, great working for you, so that, because maybe they would want to be looking at your properties to work with you again, or do you just do it with the clients?
So I personally, I don't send them anything, but I have done really nice follow-up emails. Like if if it was an amazing transaction and the agent deserves recognition, I'll send an email to the agent and ensure that their broker is also on it and praise them, thanking them for, handling it, handling the file, their professionalism. It was so great to work with you. I hope we do so again. Just little things like that. I've sent thank you cards to their offices, thanking them for an amazing transaction. I do the same for mortgage lenders. If I have a lender that I love working with, I will send a note card to my lender afterwards, thanking them for yet again another smooth transaction. I always know that things are going to be great when you're on the lending side of things. It's just little things like that because you're building rapport with other agents. And you want to be the agent that other agents want to work with, right? You don't want to be the agent like the one that's on the other end of your son's deal right now. You want people to want to sell your listings because they want to work with you. So absolutely find what works for you and go for it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, okay, guys. Well, if there's nothing else, we kept it to an hour, which was wonderful. So I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday. And thank you guys for joining me. I hate doing trainings, but I know they're necessary. So as soon as the recording's ready, I'll kick it out along with the checklist to you all. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
So thank you.
Thanks.
So,
Merry Christmas.
Thanks.
Thanks for doing this.
you're welcome. So, all right, guys, have a
you.
great one.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.